Hello, and thank you for your interest in the 2026 Oregon Specialty Crop Block Grant Program. This is our process overview, recorded informational. I am Gabrielle Ugaldi. I'm the Specialty Crop Block Grant Program Coordinator. My picture is here. If you see me out and about, please stop by and say hi. Both my cell and office line are on this slide, as well as my email. Feel free to pause here and jot down my information, add me to your contacts. I would love to meet with you and chat about your grant opportunities and inform you about anything that you need around the Specialty Crop Block Grant Program or within the Department of Agriculture. If I don't have the answer, I'll try to point you to the person who does. Today, we are going to look at 4 different items. First, we're going to look at the National Specialty Crop Block Grant Program. We're going to take a look at the Oregon program at a state level. We'll look at the timeline. And finally, I will point you into the direction of where to find our new online application system. So to start, the purpose of Specialty Crop Block Grant Program is to enhance the competitiveness of Oregon specialty crops, but at a national level is to enhance the competitiveness of all specialty crops. Specialty crops are defined as fruits, vegetables, tree nuts, dried fruits, horticulture, and nursery crops, and that includes floriculture. If you Google USDA Specialty Crop Block Grant Program, you will find this website. The main reason that we point this out is over here on the left side, there is going to be a item that says specialty crop definition. If you click on that, you will find the full USDA definition of specialty crop, as well as a list. It's not exhaustive, but a list of the specialty crops that are eligible. So items like corn or soybeans are not eligible, even though they are a vegetable. But other items that are eligible that maybe aren't necessarily thought of as eligible because they may be a fringe or unique crop could be listed on that list. If you have a specialty crop that you are not seeing on that list, but is something that falls within to the USDA definition of fruits, vegetables, tree nuts, horticulture, nursery crops, and floriculture, give me a call. We can work on figuring out how to get that crop listed on USDA's definition, or we can work out where it should be on the list, and I can help you find it. Up next, we'll talk a little bit about eligibility for this program. So first and foremost, you have to work with a crop that is defined as a specialty crop within USDA's definition. If you are not working with a crop, if you're working with livestock, if you're working with fish, then you are not eligible for this program, unfortunately. There are other resources for you, so please reach out and I would happily point you in their direction. Up next is your project must enhance the competitiveness of Oregon's specialty crops. So we will not fund something that is not being grown or produced or developed within Oregon. So if you're trying to uh, fund something that we just don't grow here, let's say pineapple, and you're trying to do the project in Hawaii, you need to be applying to Hawaii's Specialty Crop Block Grant Program. Now, that's not to be said that we don't grow pineapple in Oregon, but that's just an example for you. So please make sure that you are applying for and are going to work with Oregon, especially crop growers, for this project. Another part of eligibility is grant funds are not awarded for projects that only benefit one company, organization, or institution. It has to be for the betterment of the entire industry. So, for example, we would not be able to purchase hazelnut trees to put them on your property for you to start growing hazelnuts. However, if you were going to, let's say, work with OSU to develop a new hazelnut variety that better fits the microclimate that you're in, then we could work towards purchasing hazelnut trees for your organization to then work with OSU for the research project and disseminate those results out to the rest of the hazelnut industry. So just make sure that whatever project you're doing is not for solely your benefit. Because of that, pretty much anyone is eligible to apply, again, as long as the program is working towards a benefit of the larger industry. There are a couple of things because this is a federal program that is federal dollars. We are required to adhere to certain policies and requirements. We just let you guys know this within this system in this presentation so that if you are familiar with these couple of documents, that you are aware that our cost principles fall within the 2 CFR 200, otherwise known as the Super Circular or Uniform Guidance. Basically, the 2 CFR 200 tell us what we can and cannot purchase with grant funds. You as applicants don't necessarily need to know the ins and outs of this document. It's very large. I will know what is allowed and what is not allowed, and I will talk you through those items as we go through your application. There are a couple of restrictions. Again, this is going back to benefit of the larger industry. So, for example, if you're going to do a marketing campaign for Oregon grown watermelons, that would be acceptable versus if you had a company, let's say specifically Uvalde grown watermelons, that would be unacceptable. So we can't promote one company or business, but we could promote an entire region or an entire state's specifically grown crop. There are a couple of limitations within the program, so just note that as you are going through and creating your application. First and foremost, equipment is special purpose only. USDA has increased the amount that they require or call a special purpose piece of equipment, so it has to be $10,000 or more per unit, has a useful life of more than 1 year, and has to be scientific or very special in nature. So essentially that means that we're not going to be purchasing tractors. We can't purchase greenhouses. There's no capital purchases. So just note that if you are going to put pieces of equipment on your application, that is allowed, but they just have to meet the definition. Travel costs and meals are allowable, but they are only allowable with prior approval. So prior acceptance in your application. You can't go and travel to a conference and then come back and be like, hey, I went to a conference, give us the money for that. You have to have prior approval for travel. Rental costs for building and equipment are allowed as long as they are directly associated with the project. What this means is if your staff is putting time towards marketing and they're putting 5% of their scheduled working hours towards the marketing of your project, you are only allowed to charge the grant 5% of the rental costs of your building. You cannot charge indirect costs, and overhead costs are not allowed within this program. They all have to be direct costs to the grant. Because of that, costs for rentals of buildings and equipment have to be directly tied to the amount of percentage or time that the grant is using that space or that piece of equipment. Grant funds cannot be used for coupons, incentives, redemptions, or price discounts. So the grant funds can't go out and purchase food to just be given away. The food has to be for something that is specific within the scope of work of your grant. You also can't purchase price discounts and give away coupons in printable material for items that people are going to bring to a specific location and get a free something. That is not allowed with these grant funds. As always, grant funds cannot be used for political or lobbying activities whatsoever. If they are, then all of those funds will be revoked immediately. We cannot have federal dollars being used for political or lobbying activities. As a reminder, these are federal dollars. These are our national dollars, and we want to treat them with honesty and have no fraud, waste, or abuse. So again, everything I've talked to up until this point is national scale. So all of everything I've noted has been something that applies to all 50 states. This is a block grant program. All 50 states and all of our territories do get funding. So looking a little bit more specifically to our Oregon program, we get $1.5 to $2 million every year. That is going to be increasing a little bit over the next 4 years, as in the last Farm Bill, we saw a increase of the program again at the national scale. A couple of new things with this year. The first being we have increased our range that you can ask for funding from. In the past, it was 25,000 to 175,000, and we have increased that range from 50,000 to 250,000. So the maximum you're allowed to ask for from the grant is $250,000, and the minimum is 50,000. So please do not ask for more than what your grant needs. We have been seeing year in and year out that people are asking for the maximum amount and then coming back and saying they need more because of staff time or travel has gotten more expensive. And we all know that things are more expensive. So we wanted to increase our allowance in response to that. But please know that if you are going to ask for $250,000, you need to be very strategic in showing us how you are going to spend all $250,000. Matching is always encouraged within our program. It shows that you have skin in the game, that you actually want the project to happen, but it is not necessarily a requirement of the program. Projects are 2.5 years. You have to report twice yearly in those 2.5 years. And we have an industry represented advisory committee that selects the projects that are recommended to the director's office. So in our RFA that you will find at our website, or RFP, which is request for proposals, on our website, you can see a full breakdown of how we review and select applications. But our advisory committee is in a cross section of our agricultural industry, and it represents pretty much every sector within specialty crop that you could imagine that touches agriculture. So we try to be very representative and fair when we are reviewing applications. We also have new funding priorities. These are our 5 new funding priorities. They are listed in no specific order. No funding priority gets any points. These are just ways to bucket projects out and to make sure that projects' ultimate goal is something that we can fund at the USDA level. So we updated our priorities this year after an extensive industry survey, as well as working with USDA and our leadership here at the Oregon Department of Agriculture, making sure that these priorities aligned with what the industry needs, as well as the national USDA program. So at a national level, this is what our priorities are. If you've applied with us in the past, you will know that we used to have more priorities and that were a little bit more specific to items. All of the priorities that we've had in the past fall under these 5. So we have not lost any priorities. We are just being a little bit more general and, again, more aligned with USDA. So to start, the first priority we have listed is leveraging efforts to market and promote. Number 2 is assisting producers with research and development. Number 3 is expanding access and availability. Number 4 is addressing local, regional, or national challenges specific to confronting producers. And then number 5 is other purposes determined appropriate by the director of the Oregon Department of Agriculture. So this is kind of a catch-all, the last one, for if there's like an emergency that's happening within a certain industry and they are going to apply for that industry to have a project regarding that emergency, then that is where this priority would fulfill. So take, for example, COVID. When COVID happened and we were seeing a lot of, distribution issues, that would have been something that a priority for COVID specific projects could have fulfilled number 5 here. So again, these are just in no specific order. No project priority gets a point when we're reviewing applications. These are, again, just a way to bucket what the projects are doing, but also show how those program priorities are meeting USDA requirements. One of the last items we have here is the timeline. So to start, that's actually supposed to be December 1st. I apologize. We are opening for applications December 1st of 2025, not December 2nd. The RFA or RFP, it's the same thing, request for applications, request for proposal. goes live. That will be posted on our website. We will email it out. We will do a press release. There will be a couple of different ways that you can find that piece of information. I will show you where it is on our website as well. The RFA will also be in English and Spanish. In addition to that, there will be several other pieces of information and resources for you to use on our website that go live on the 1st. I'll show you those in a moment. January 30th at noon is the deadline for proposals. Please, 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 please do not submit proposals January 30th at noon. Please make sure that you are submitting early. We have a new submission system that will take you some time to get into. So please do not, and I repeat this, do not wait until the very last day to apply. Noon is a hard deadline. So if you apply January 30th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, your application will simply not be accepted. If you do not use the new application online portal, your application will not be accepted. If there are sections of your application completely missing, your application will not be accepted. Please make sure that you are familiar with the program, you understand its needs, and then you submit your application. Late March or early April of 2026, we will be selecting the partners that will be moving forward to the USDA full application. We will apply to USDA around the 1st of May, and then they will go through an application selection process. Basically, they're just approving that our applications that we selected are allowable projects within the scope of USDA's allowable or unallowable costs. And then October of 2026 is when projects would be able to actually start moving forward. So please note that it is almost a full year after you apply before you would get money. This is not a speedy application process. Lastly, you can see, again, before we move on to the application, once again is my work line and email. Feel free to reach out at any point if you have questions or concerns during your application process. We are going to go ahead and move over to showing you guys the application itself. I'm going to share my screen once again. This is going to be our Specialty Crop Block Grant Program webpage. This is where you are going to find several pieces of assistance for resources. This is probably where you found this video. There's going to be a couple other things that I want to point out. So if you literally Google Specialty Crop Block Grant Program, Oregon Department of Agriculture, you should be able to find this page. To start, this is going to be their main page. It's going to talk through a little bit about the program. It's going to have some exclusions and applicant eligibility, but really what I want to point out is the items kind of close to the bottom here. For starters, we have our timeline. The timeline is subject to change with notice. So if something happens and we need to move the RFP date for closing or opening, that will also be edited here, but please note that we are not going to necessarily announce those. The process webinar, what you're seeing right now, the overview and process, is going to be attached to here. Why is this messed up? Anyway, it's going to be in this timetable. Why is it sorting? Event ascending. There we go. Early December it will be in here. Our RFP opens December 1st. It will, all of the links to this and our how-to video, how to apply video will be in here as well. The resources section is going to be your biggest help when you are applying. Number one, it's going to have, as you can see, summaries of old applications that are approved. These are old projects, either that projects are currently happening or are about to close. We have a full list of project summaries here. A couple of other things is going to be the link to the USDA page that I showed you at the beginning, where you can come in and you can find the specialty crop definition here, and you can see all of the crops that are allowed within the program. A couple other things, the RFA will be in here, again in both Spanish and English, and the how to apply written version of the video will be in here. That is a step-by-step guide on how to apply to the grant using our new online system. That is going to be both in English and Spanish. Additionally, in the resource section is going to be this video, as well as a how to apply video that I have recorded and submitted earlier. So this will also be in the resources section. Another area to note is the navigation pane on the left side of the page is going to have the program funding priorities, which we will update. These are our old priorities currently listed. We are going to update all of this on December 1st. I'm just recording this prior to our update. The application process, again, on the navigation pane here on the left-hand side, you'll see our 4 little areas. The application process page, again, this will be updated. This is the old information. There will be our how to apply video. This is last year's. There will be a link there. The requests for applications will be down here, as well as the how to apply video, this overview video, and a few other resources. Lastly, there will be a link to our new online application portal. Please visit that and watch the how to apply or read the how to apply document prior to starting your application. Again, all of this will be updated before December 1st. I'm just recording this early, and we don't have those updates live yet. Other than that, that is all I have for you right now. I will go ahead and show you the application how to fit document that I created. There it is. How to apply. So for 2026, we are announcing this wonderful new how to online application system. If you have applied with us in the past, all of the questions are the same. Nothing has changed on the questions, just the formatting of what you see and how you apply has changed. So this document will be on our website. It will be in Spanish and English. This is our how to apply step-by-step guide to our online system. So please go through and review this and review the video. I have created a how to apply video that is step-by-step instructions on how to apply. But you will visit our webpage, this link, if I can get it to open. This link will take you to our new online application system. Why is it? There it is, which is this webpage. You'll click the start button here and you'll either log in or join. And from that point forward, I encourage you to go watch the how-to video. I'm not going to spend time on that in this video because I don't want this video to be too long. So this application document has step-by-step instructions for every single section on the application. So again, most of these are your budget section. They're very straightforward, but just know that, again, if you've applied with us in the past, none of the questions have changed, just the formatting. So the application will now look more like this, right here. So you'll see kind of more of a, again, online version of the same questions. It will be very straightforward once you get in it and you're living in it. But please note that the new system looks very new. It's very spiffy and very wonderful. But if you have any questions as you are moving through this, my information is everywhere. Feel free to give me a call, shoot me an email. My information's right here at the top of this. I look forward to discussing your application with you and assisting you through the process. Last but not least, here is my information again. Feel free to pause the video here and take it down. Thank you so much for your time. My name is Gabrielle Ugaldi, and I look forward to reviewing your application.